Tough in the country, it is the common phrase we often hear during droughts and flooding rains.
But now a new crisis is challenging the theory once again. Our farmers facing a crippling fuel shortage. To take us inside what the communities are experiencing, it's fourth generation farmer Mike McCosker. Mike, who's with us today, great to have you in. Look, this is a tough situation. How are you doing at the moment?
We're doing okay. The fuel is just sort of keeping up. It's more the uncertainty that has really just added an extraordinary level of stress to the local communities. You know, we're already dealing with the usual process of trying to manage the climate, and just around us at home at the moment we're actually really dry. So we've got a situation where we are trying to be ready when nature works with us, and all of a sudden that has just gone out the window.
And I feel like we are so concerned at the moment about what it looks like at the end of April, what it looks like in 4 or 5 weeks' time. No one seems to know. We've seen the PM this week multiple times, including in his address, call for calm. Do you feel calm right now, Mike?
No, not at all. I mean, the impact of this is much more than just the end of April or the end of May.
Yep.
If we don't get the crop planted, if farmers don't get the crops in the ground, then we don't have a harvest. So that then has impact for, you know, a year at least.
Wow.
We were chatting before off air and you were saying, as you just mentioned there, it's really dry at the moment, but actually the driest start to the year for your area?
Yeah, just for our area, the driest first quarter on record.
So how bad, when you add in the fuel crisis at the moment, how bad are things right now?
It's just locally, it's horrendous. Where people have got a bit of rain and they've got some sort of a normal process going on, not to be able to get their fuel or fertiliser, or even just a situation where the prices have doubled, throws all of your planning right out the window.
And we've heard so much about the fuel supply. I think we've got roughly 30 days of fuel supply available, but I don't think we've heard too much about our fertiliser supply. What can you tell us about that? Have you got enough fertiliser? How often does it come in for you normally? And what are you looking at?
Well, normally at this time of the year, you'd be looking at either stocking up ready for plant, or the local businesses would have it on hand. We've got potentially a 3 million tonne shortfall of urea, which is just one fertiliser.
Do you feel like the people who are meant to be helping these situations, the government, etc., do you feel like they truly understand how difficult this situation is for the lifeblood of the country, being the farmers, the producers, at the moment?
No, I really don't think they've got much idea at all. I mean, if they knew how important this was, this would have been managed quite differently before now. We would have had, immediately there was any sort of tension going on, we would have had plans in place to ensure that the essential services, I mean, Australia is 70% of the fuel that comes in here is logistics. It's a huge country. And the logistics of planting and moving animals around, getting the produce from the farm to the store. I mean, if the fuel stops, you know, everyone in the city will know pretty quickly, because the supermarket shelves will be empty.
Well, one thing farmers are excellent at is adapting or pivoting, and you are finding ways to navigate the fuel crisis, and you're also helping other farmers too. Tell us what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm a co-founder of a charity called Carbonate, and we've been working with farmers for 5 years now to help mentor them into regenerative practice. So, you know, that helps with fuel. We use probably 20% less fuel at home than what we used to use, simply because the ground is softer and easier to work. The other side of things is that I'm not impacted by the chemical fertiliser side of things. My whole farm is now on a natural fertility program. Wow. So I'm not concerned about the fertiliser. We are doing things like next week we have a 2-day field day for farmers at Warra Creek Hall south of Tamworth, which is about making fertilisers at home. So what can I do at home to make everything that I'm doing more effective or more efficient? So really what we want to do is get the soil biology working for us as quickly as we can, because that will make any nutrient that we can get access to more available to the plant, and therefore mean that we might get through.
And what drove you to become this prepared and to shift gears? I mean, is this something that came from COVID?
No, originally I had a chemical poisoning event. That ended up being my thyroid stopped working.
Wow.
When I went to the doctors, they could only get me sort of halfway back to health. But when I looked at my diet, the Sydney Natural Medical Centre took me off wheat, dairy and sugar, and in a month I went from being 50% well to 100% well. So all of a sudden I understood just how important food was. At the same time, I was learning about the soil biology and how we produce food, and that just linked everything together for me. That's why with the charity, we focus on helping people get the soil regenerated. There's a group in the US, the Real Food Movement, and a bloke called Dan Kittredge, and they've done a lot of research on what makes good food. And in fact, the only link they came across, it didn't matter whether you were organic or chemical or farmed the soil, it mattered whether there was life in the soil, whether the biology was active in the soil. That made the difference between producing good food and not producing good food. So our whole focus in helping farmers has been to help them to get the soil carbon going. It's got all sorts of other benefits as well. It improves the water holding capacity of the soil, improves the food quality, improves the resilience of the farm, all of those things. So, we thought that was the most important thing we could do, was get out and help farmers with that. And in the middle of that, there's also tricks you can do to help make nutrients more available and more efficient. So that's what we're teaching farmers how to do.
Well, good on you, Mike. Well done. And I certainly hope the government officials pull their head out of the sand before it gets too bad.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks so much for your time, Mike. All right, just to head on today, methods for moderation. The secret